Hi, this is Stacy with Gooseberry Bridge Farm, and today I'm going to do a little day in the life video. So I'm starting my day in the garden. I didn't really do much before this. I haven't eaten breakfast yet. I am harvesting tomatoes, squash, checking for cucumber beetles. I'll show you. Here's the basket so far. Gotta get these cherry tomatoes in here. Something has started eating them. I'm gonna throw this one to the chickens. You're gonna have to trust me, there's chickens over there. They'll find it. Those are our rabbit hutches, but the chickens are there. There's one. There's our squash plants. Potatoes are almost ready, but not quite. The beans are back there. I also really need to deal with this, but I've been using this is weeds. It's just weeds. It's weeds growing in my strawberry patch, strawberries. Every couple weeks I go through and cut most of them down, not because I'm trying to preserve the strawberries, because they are done. I'm done with having them here. The weeds are too hard to control, but we take them and feed the weeds to the rabbits and the pigs. So that's always fun. And I've also been harvesting this fuzzy grass for dried arrangements. I'm a little behind right now, but because there's a lot of it. But I will be getting that. And this is goldenrod, so I'm letting that grow there on purpose. That whole back thing is my asparagus, and right behind that, you can see a little yellow sticking up. That's a whole nother row of goldenrod. But I keep saying this is the last year that will be there. This is my boys' garden, raised bed, and there are all my seedlings. All right, so the storm the other night kind of messed up my mullein. This is not supposed to be this close to the ground. It fell over. The storm also really damaged the flowers for a couple days. It was 2 days ago. No, I can't get that one. I'm trying to do this with my left hand and hold the camera, but this is the part we harvest. I dry these and use them to make mullein oil and mullein tinctures and mullein tea. The tea is good for coughs. The oil is good for like putting in your ears if you have an earache. The tincture is also good for like chest congestion. What is this word? Come on. It's hard enough harvesting with my left hand. Yes, I could have a tripod, but I don't. Not right now. So the flowers kind of come off really easily when they're ready, or when they're a little past ready. They're really hard to pick off when they're not ready. And also, if you let mullein go to flower, go to seed, and the garden, you'll have mullein everywhere forever. Oh, I've got them all over the place in here. Now I could have pulled them up when they were small, like this one, but I didn't. And you can also just get the ones that are on the ground and, on the leaves, like these guys. You'd probably get enough if you have a lot of plants like I do, but either way. Last year we only harvested about a half pint of dried flowers, and that was enough for everything we needed. We didn't get sick that much, but I just knocked another one off. I really like having this on hand, so. With most herbs, harvesting in the morning gives you the most medicinal qualities or flavor or any of that. So I try to do this in the morning versus, I don't know, evening or any other time. This one is big. Look how tall that is. So here's what I'm gonna get for today. I'm not gonna keep going even though I could get a lot more. I just need to keep moving. Even if I only get just this little tiny bowl a day, it will add up. They'll be blooming for several more weeks. And I've also got some chamomile over here, but I harvested chamomile yesterday. Let me show it to you. It's really almost done. So this chamomile is looking a little sad. Okay, I'll get a few, but this is what the chamomile looks like. Sometimes I just do this. But your goal with chamomile is just to get the flowers. The leaves don't matter really. And you want to get them when their petals are either out or just down. You don't really want them to be super big like this, because then when you dry them they fall apart and make a mess. Dry the whole flower for chamomile, and you can make chamomile tea. We make chamomile tinctures, and now I am going to have to put this in a bowl with my mullein. I've also got some chamomile growing in these beds, or tubs. Alright, I'll sort it out later. I usually bring 2 of these little bowls. They're from IKEA. They're pretty amazing for picking tiny. I usually have one for flowers and one for tiny tomatoes. Okay, now I've got to deal with this. These are cuttings from some marigolds and zinnias that I want to try to propagate. I've been short on plants this year to fill up my flower field for our Ozark flower farm, so I'm trying to propagate more instead of starting more seeds, because it's a little bit faster. Plus I know what colors I'm getting, which is pretty cool. So these are zinnias, celosia, marigolds, and cosmos from cuttings. Now these aren't necessarily the best cuttings for the job, but these were what I had. Like, these are what fell over in storms or whatever. I'm using this rooting powder that I bought at Walmart like 5 years ago. It seems to still work. These are the rejects from my last round of cuttings. Some of them actually, they have really good roots. Here, I'll show you. See? Good roots. But I cut the wrong part of the plant, so they don't seem to be growing any new leaves. So those were kind of an experiment. I think I made little zombie plants because all the other ones grew new leaves and those didn't. See, this is what it looks like when they're growing new leaves, and the stem is solid, where these stems, you can see that one, are hollow. And I really need to take the buds off of these. They need to focus on roots. So anyway, these I picked up out of my flower field last night. Picked these up out of my flower field last night, and they have little growth on them. So I'm going to dip that in there and just poke it in this wet dirt. And I keep this in the shade as much as possible. That's why it's right next to the mess of a greenhouse here. So some of these I'm going to cut shorter. Like this one I can actually make into 2. Let's see if I can do that on camera. Gotta get my clippers out. Okay. So cut this right here. And now I have 2. And then the flies are landing on me. It's really not helping me hold still. So then we cut off half of each leaf, because again, that gives the plant less to stress about. It doesn't have to keep trying to produce or to keep hydrating that. So then I dip it in the powder, find an empty cell, and poke it in. I have had the best success with this year. I'll have to show you later my marigold row, because I'll have to go over there to water, but my marigold row is about 2/3 grown from cuttings this year, because I didn't have enough germination. This really is, when it works, it saves money on seeds, because you don't, and you can do it with tomatoes too. See, I've got tomatoes here. They actually root really well in water. Okay, now these are the zinnias. We joke that they always end up looking like lettuce because I chop the tops off like that, and then dip and find a hole and stuff them in. Yesterday these were all wilted, all these zinnia cuttings. Pull the flower off that one. Hope you guys appreciate this, because this is making things more difficult for me, for sure. Okay, let me find one. Okay, now those are amaranth seedlings in those other holes, so I don't want to put one in a hole that I had some amaranth that I overseeded. That one I probably left too many leaves. And I had to move some of them, because the first time I planted it, I tried to put one seed in each cell, and they ended up really sparse. There's one back there. So I just seeded more, just sprinkled seeds everywhere, and then there were extras, so obviously the more than one came up in a cell. Oh my gosh, the flies. Okay, I'm all done. I almost filled up this tray. You can also root cuttings for most of these things in water, which is what I did with these guys. Dirty water, but water. These are celosia. I'm trying to find a spot for them in my trays now, so that I can put them in the soil and let them get a few more roots before I plant them out. It's just because it's so dry out these days, with it being July and all. There's a dead one. It doesn't work 100% of the time, but it doesn't need to work 100% of the time. Oh, I just dug up an asparagus, baby. Didn't see that there. These are baby asparagus that I see. There's one in that one. There's not one in this one. Anyway, I dug up out of the garden. They are coming up everywhere this year. If I walk by some, I'll show you. All right, these are the seedlings, and yes, I've got some random kale growing in this mulch. So let's see what we have here. This is the rest of the amaranth that I overseeded. We have a tray of poke-out sunflowers that's just popping up. Tray of cosmos that was really thin, so I reseeded it, so now you can see there's some little cosmos. This is a tray of zinnias that are finally coming up, and there are multiples in some of these cells, so in a day or two I will split them up. They move pretty easily. They just kind of pull them up when they just have a tiny root, and stick them in a different cell or a different tray. These are more pro-cuts. I'm very careful to only put one seed per cell for these, but these were not germinating well in the last round, so I did extra in each cell. I just went nuts and put them everywhere. So that's why there's 3 here. I would normally not do that, and some people just thin them. I'm not one of those people. I will separate them all and try to help them to live, because I need more. All right, let's see. And then we have back here, this is celosia that we dug up from the grass. So that's why they look a little floppy and funky. They were dug up a couple days ago. They were really, really close together, so that makes them a little spindly. And then we dug them up and put them in this tray. I think overall they're doing pretty awesome. This is day 3 of being in the tray. They'll grow, they'll straighten up, especially these little ones. And then we will be able to plant them. I have a good spot picked out for them where some of our spring stuff is done. So here is, I don't know what this is, but this is one of our volunteer asparagus babies. It's in our tomato row. There are tons of them in the tomato rows. I'm not really sure, this is a sunflower. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do about that. There's also a lot of volunteer asparagus in here, but there's weed fabric and it's just it's a mess. I'm gonna try to move a lot of it. I might just wait till winter and then I know it's there. And last year I heavily mulched this asparagus and it didn't bother it. So I'm going to, all this weed fabric is coming out and we're going to amend this soil with rabbit manure and goat house bedding and that sort of thing. You can see that asparagus is already blooming, or not blooming, it already has seeds on it. The little things that look like tiny tomatoes, those are asparagus seeds. That's how I keep getting asparagus all over my garden, which is, it's just weird because it's never really happened much before. But this year must have been really good for it, this past year. So anyway, there's a lot in here under these weeds. So if I don't cut it down now, and just cut the weeds and spare the asparagus, I'm sure it's in there somewhere. Anyway, it might come back next year when I don't put the weed fabric in place. So I was thinking, take that, this is like 3 strips of weed fabric. I'll take the back one off and mulch it so that the asparagus can spread this way a little bit, maybe. We'll see. It's all just a mess. We're probably gonna put a new greenhouse over here too, so winter will help. When you see something like this and you're like, oh no, what have I done? Just remember that winter helps. Makes it go away. Ooh, I see tomatoes. So, this plant is a little messed up, but look at this. Do you have any bug holes in you? So the disappointing thing about this, got it. And there's a little bug hole, but nothing bad. This plant was supposed to be a mortgage lifter. And I got the seeds from MI Gardener, and I have gone over how I could have possibly mixed them up with something else. And it's just not a thing. I did not mix them up. Something else happened. So if anybody else is growing mortgage lifters from MI Gardener and they look like these, let me know, because I don't even know what this is, but it is not a mortgage lifter. All right, one of the things on the list today while it's in the shade is to pull this garlic. It is very, very, very ready. We've just been busy. Some of them are completely dead, so we're gonna be really careful pulling these, aren't we, boys? Okay, so we have to go to the TV station. Our friend Kizzy, who has this book that I will put a picture of here and a link in the description. It's a really cute kids book about farm animals, and the animals in the book are our animals. So anyway, I'm gonna watch her babies, and she's gonna be on TV with my husband Jeremy and my daughter Annie. So I will try to get some pictures of that, but I'm not sure how much I'll be able to do since I will be watching little ones during the filming. So there's that. And then at 6 o'clock we open for You Pick Flowers tonight, and it's Friday night, so that might be busy, it might not be, we'll see. I will try to get some video of the flower field. Then if we're not busy, I will be weeding and harvesting flowers to dry. We just kind of never know what we're gonna get as far as You Pick crowds. Last night it was a Thursday night, and I was kind of surprised at how busy we were, and then also his brother stuff happened last night. But anyway, watering is next. Okay, I've turned off the water. Sorry about that. But I wanted to show you guys real quick how I've got these peppers supported. These hoops are like what we use on our flower field, and there's a bunch of borage in this one, but these are our jalapenos, and they always fall down, and I'm always like trying to put them in tomato cages and other stuff like that. Where's the peppers? There they are. But this time I've used this netting, same as we use in the flower field, this stuff, and it's working really well. These peppers are really big. Like, I don't even understand. They could be better. Like, I could pull this, I could probably connect it to the next row, and that would make these stand up better, but they're not gonna fall down and break off. I did have some break in the storm the other night that were not supported with netting, but they have so many peppers on them. I might end up having to like tie these together, which is gonna really limit my ability to get between the beds, but if it holds the peppers up, because these are getting crazy big and so fast. These weren't even here like a week ago. I mean, they were just tiny. These are blot peppers. These are pepticoons, as I call them. I will have to put the name on the screen because I never remember the entire thing. It's too long. These are Lesha peppers. There they are. There's 20 Leshas, 20 of the other ones, 20 of the blots right there, and then 10 or so jalapenos here. And then I've got a Thai chili, and I've got some like habaneros, I think, back here that are really being shaded out by the borage. I had poppies in here too, but they are dead, completely dead. And I was hoping to save seeds from them, and it doesn't look like that's gonna work at all. So over there I have some thyme, and this is Teddy's raised bed. Here it's kind of a mess. Anyway, we're gonna move on to watering the next thing. Oh, tomatoes. All right, I'm out in the flower field now. Bentley's helping me water. There's our zinnias. We planted 2 days ago all of these rows. I'm out here deadheading. I cut this one off, and it's got a Japanese beetle in it, so I have to walk it over to my water cup, because if you squish a Japanese beetle, it attracts more. But I need to deadhead a lot more on these. They're getting big and looking beautiful. There's some marigolds over there. They're always bad with the beetles, so I need to walk by those. And this is the celosia. I told you I was going to show you the marigolds, but first I gotta walk over to my beetle cup. Right there. All right, the marigolds I was going to show you. So this side here that's blooming right now is what we started from seed, and then I took cuttings from those and made this section, which are about to bloom. Actually, there's a flower right there. There's buds on them. And then you can see it steps down. Took cuttings from those, made this section, took cuttings from those, and here we have the last ones. Now, some of these are bigger because we forgot to water them the first day we planted this section, so like some of them died, and then I replaced them again. There's the new ones, and there. So this row is finally done. There's our status over there, all from seed. The celosia, these are just later started seeds, but it's the same idea. Let's see, and so we put some other marigolds up here in the field. Anyway, so I've got a row of zinnias here, a row of zinnias here that we just planted Wednesday, and then there's zinnias back there. This space is going to be cosmos, and then more marigolds, more zinnias, and more cosmos on the end. Finally got them all in. So when these are giant and starting to look a little sad, they get tired, they have issues with disease, then those will be just starting. We've got a couple perennial rows in the field. This one, and this row is not a perennial row necessarily. Where's my focus? Not a perennial row necessarily. Or actually right now, I mean, there's annuals in there. There's their gomphrena, which I need to deadhead and weed again. They're just not growing like they should. They're getting better. Now I started fertilizing them. I put some rabbit poop tea on them, and they have improved a lot. They've bloomed a lot after that. These are Sweet William that are done and full of seeds. I've got new perennials, yellow coneflowers planted here, and then I've got the purple coneflowers from last year. Those are looking awesome. The bees love them. Look at all those bees. Unfortunately, the cucumber beetles also love them. So if you look closely, the petals are not great looking on pretty much all of them. I don't know, some of them are okay, but I can't sell them to florists or anything. But they're like a whole little ecosystem. This one's got a caterpillar on it. It's gonna eat it up. I'm gonna get rid of him. And this is the bee balm. It is also covered in bees. They love it. And it comes back every year. It blew over in the storm. I'm probably just gonna cut those off soon. This is our Orlea. It's all gone to seed. The seeds are maturing. They're going to make a carpet of Orlea in my grass if I'm not careful. I'm going to pick them up and spread them down this row because I want them to come up and fill this row for next year. I'll probably come back here in a few minutes and start deadheading the Gomphrena, which really just means I'm going to cut all the flowers off and dry them. And every time I cut the flowers off, it's hopefully going to help make the plants grow more and get bigger and bushier. Like, here, I'll show you. Oh, this applies to pretty much all cut flowers. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Nope, it will not focus on this flower. Anyway, this plant. You can see right here where I cut off the main stem, and when I did that, it grew branches here, 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 and there's branches everywhere. And now it's got 3 little flower stems on it, or 4. And before it looked like this one probably, because this one's just kind of new and was probably too small last time. So I will cut this one right here, and then all these branches will grow up bigger. I could cut it here, but this branch will probably never be very big. So I'm gonna cut it down a little further, and then I can bundle them into little mini Gomphrena bundles. They're really cute, they dry really well. I need to collect all the seeds from these Sweet William. I'm trying to get them to come up too, but I'm also gonna try to start some in trays so that we could fill this area in with Sweet William. Which should be fabulous. But the main issue we're having with this area is that this row and this row are 2 of my original no-till rows from 2020. I made them then, and there's some, these are Maximilian perennial sunflowers. I make those little yellow flowers. Anyway, so these are my 2 of my original rows from the 2020 season, and I didn't, all the other rows that have annuals and don't reseed, well, no, some of them do reseed, but anyway, I take the plastic off, take the netting off, take all the plants, cut them off, try to leave the roots so that organic matter is in the soil, and I add 6 to 8 to maybe even 10 inches of waste hay from a goat house, or some years we do chicken house bedding in the fall. That way it composts in place in the row, and in the spring the soil is amended and most of the hay is broken down, but there's usually an inch or 2 on the top left, and we put the fabric over that, and it's like mulch under the fabric. It really helps suppress weeds and retain moisture and build soil. So these rows with the perennials, I have not taken this row up at all. This row doesn't even have irrigation because I've never taken it up. This bee balm and yarrow is from, and this Maximilian perennial sunflower, which this was a whole section, but they died. So I replaced that with white echinacea, which will bloom next year. I have some lupine in here, but we don't take this fabric up because these are perennials that last. They still have some green on them in the winter, and it's just we can't change this. So we're gonna have to, I'm not sure how to fertilize this, but I'm gonna probably have to do it with liquid, and the soil is just never gonna be as good. But I mean, most of these are native perennials, pretty much all of them. Yarrow, bee balm, I don't know about this guy. The echinacea is native, and the yellow coneflower is native. White coneflower is native, so we are kind of combating our native soil with native plants. So that, not combating, but working with. So that works. Now this other row is mostly things that reseed, but except that it has some Sweet William on the end, and the Sweet William comes back. But most of this other stuff, the Orlea, there's Nigella at the end here, and there are also some glads in here, like that one. So these are the Nigella pods, and I hardly harvested any of them this year. They just did not get very big. And I've also got some, these seeds are about ready to try to get out of there. These are Saphinaria. I don't know how I'm going to amend the soil, because by fall, when we are doing the rest of the field, all the babies of these plants have already come up. And sometimes the basta buttons do too. And like this native wildflower Rebecca that I just appeared here, I didn't even do that. It's like a weed. And the same with the Queen Anne's lace, which is not native, but grows all over the place here and is pretty. So I let it grow in some of my rows. Anyway, this soil needs work, and I don't know how I'm gonna do that. That was a long story short and no answers. All right, now we are at the Vego garden. Ooh, somebody put my hose on jet, and I've got to water all of this. I've got 3 raised beds here, 1 more over there. Some planters. When it doesn't rain, I have to water all of this. I've been working on getting some drip irrigation for this, which I wasn't going to do because I'm cheap. I removed my pot. That goes right here. There we go. Wasn't going to do that. It's expensive. Not that expensive, but anyway, I've had some companies offer to sponsor me with drip irrigation, so I need to figure that out and do it. But at the same time, like, all these little pots still have to be watered. There's this one. Somebody needs to clean my porch too. My studio porch. Always something, right? Just ends up a mess. But anyway, I need to get drip irrigation figured out, but I would still have to come up here and water my hanging baskets every day and water all the little pots, even if the raised beds were on drip. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. Let me show you. This was a pot I grew last year with this hens and chicks, and this moss rose is just self-seeded. So cute. That is the cutest thing ever. Sorry, I keep moving. These normally look like this, these rows, the first week in June, and it's the last week in June. So that's been a bit frustrating, but this is where I said I was going to plant cosmos. There's more zinnias, these sunflowers. Slightly disappointing stem length. I need to cut some more flowers off of them. These are country roads branching sunflowers. They're pretty. I just was hoping for longer stems, and some of them have some decently long branches there, and this one has a long first stem, but the bugs ate it, so I don't know. They take forever to grow. Sunflowers are usually fast. I planted these little ones just a few weeks, maybe 3 weeks after the big ones, and they just stay that size for like a really long time. Anyway, they're pretty, so there's that. Oh, we have our lawnmowers out here. I need to move them. You can tell because the grass is looking so good on this side. Unlike Lester. Lester is not looking so bright. He looks kind of scrawny. That sheep looks really round. Alright, I'm out in the outdoor kitchen now. It's like 6 o'clock. It's not cooling off at all, so whatever. But I am putting away some of the onions the kids picked this morning. These are ones we put up the other day. This is the garlic and everything else. There's onions hanging here that need to move. We were trying some different things. Like these are bundles of onions. This is 2 bundles stuck together. There we go. Bundle of onions and a rubber band. I keep trying to put them up here on top so they can hang over this thing, and they keep falling off. I don't think they're actually falling. I think it's the kittens that live out here, which I don't see right now. Anyway, so I'm gonna line them up on the shelf like we did last year and see if the kittens knock them off. And also, we hung all these bundles up here. These are bundles of 10. So, I don't know. We're gonna see what I can fit in here because I got a lot. We've got this crate, this crate. There's a kitten eating onion. Okay, another kitten, and we've got 3 more crates of onions, and then these 3 are garlic, but they're not as full. I need to look at the garlic because some of it looks pretty rough and a lot of it is small. Like this is not ideal. It might be okay. I don't like it to be all like mildewy when it's pulled. It shouldn't look like that. It should look like this one. So we'll see. All right, well, it is 7:46, and this probably looks pretty familiar at this point in the video because I am back in the garden. Normally, I would not have been out as long as I was today in the morning. Like all the way till about noon. And then, so because it's cloudy, now the garden is in the shade from this tree, and it's pretty sunny elsewhere. But I'm out checking these tomatoes because I didn't do this earlier. I need to tuck them in. They grow, you know, like every day, and it rained a couple days ago, so they grew a little extra. And this one is looking a little rough. Something is going on with this. Look at that. There's little spots. That's not good because they're on the top of the plant. I did just fertilize this, so I could have heard it, but that is concerning. And I've had that happen on a few other plants. It didn't look quite like this. Let's see if I can get that to focus. It didn't look quite like this. It looked a little different, but it wasn't on big plants like this one. It was on little plants. So this one has big tomatoes, and I don't like the other plants because the only thing I could find on the internets that looked like this was a issue that is spread by bugs, like a virus or bacteria or something. I don't even remember now. I think it was bacteria. And I didn't want it spread, so I pulled those plants because they were small. But this one is quite big with some really nice tomatoes on it, and I really don't want to pull it, but I don't want to like risk my entire stuff. So I guess that's what I'm doing. If all my tomatoes get that, it will suck. But it's not, I don't know. I bought some tomato plants from the Amish this year, and I'm regretting it because I feel like I brought in new bugs with new diseases that are spreading them to all my plants. And that happens like every time I buy plants. I usually start all my own stuff from seed. I sell plants, you know, all that, but like these plants were, I was at the Amish auction getting some flowers, which don't usually have vegetable plant diseases. Oh, I broke that one. Anyway, so I was buying flowers, mostly to sell. And then, see, here's a big spot where I had to pull a plant. Anyway, I bought some tomato plants because they had a variety that I didn't really have. I don't even remember what it was now. And they were 10 cents a piece. for big plants in like a 6-inch pot. It was ridiculous. Ridiculously cheap. I can't pass up a good deal. So what I can hope this year is, it's been really wet. The plant's all already dealing with this kind of stuff, which is on the lower leaves, and fungal spot issues. Look at these cute little tomatoes. They're so cute. Anyway, they're already dealing with a lot. So we'll see. I planted twice as many in an attempt to, I try to break these off and not use my clippers because I don't want to spread stuff, but I think this whole branch is broken, and that's the problem here. Not sure what that's about. That's very strange. I'm going to try cutting that off with the clippers. Anyway, the point of that, was there a point? Like, why is this dead? Nothing about this is okay. This does not look like it should have died. Anyway, so I have no idea what I was talking about, but I'm tucking in the plants. Oh, I planted a whole bunch of extra this year. My main concern is that I will leave something like that disease that will end up affecting my plants next year and every year forever, and that's the kind of thing I don't want. But I really need to weed this, so if you ever use cattle panel trellis, know that you have to do this pretty much every day at this time of year. Eventually it'll reach the top, and then it'll fall over, and there's not much I can do, but most of the tomatoes will be in this part. See, like these 2 tomatoes are the only ones curling, which is curling is fine. It means they're hot and dry, but like, why? Fine. This. It's supposed to be okay that they're curling up. This one is a little extra, like it's something it doesn't like about this soil, because it's kind of yellow and veiny also, but the tomatoes look fine. Look at them all. They're huge. They're all over the plant too. It has more than most of them. This one, on the other hand, appears to have nothing. And it looks sad. Nothing. And that is why I feel that I really need all of these plants. Okay. Hey, my phone died, so you don't get to see the actual weeding, just the aftermath. These rows are done. This is what they looked like before. It's almost dark. This row is probably not going to get done, but all 3 of these rows and then 5 of those rows are done. I still have onions in 2 tomato rows. I might do this one tonight. It's not that bad. There's also this mess here. Alright, well, I'm in our dry flower studio, checking on the freeze dryers before I go inside for the night. It's why it's kind of loud. They're both running. One has beets and squash, and the other one is all full of squash. There they are large and extra large. And I've got all this cool stuff in here. I didn't add anything today. I was checking on this too. This is a bridal bouquet preservation that I did, and I've been checking to make sure the glue is dry. It is dry now, so the glass is on it. I just have to clean the glass and contact the bride and tell her it's done. It's pretty dark. This is pretty poor quality. Oh, you can see the fireflies though. So I still need to put up onions, work on the serger that I think I showed you. My hands are gross, and then I'm going to bed. It is 9 o'clock, so even though I have probably 2 more hours worth of work, I'm gonna say this is probably enough videoing for one day. Thanks for watching.